Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hayriya M. Gani from BSSW3D. So in question number 1, for me, the primary role of a social worker during the immediate phase of a disaster is to protect lives, reduce panic, and provide emotional stability when people are in shock. In these first hours, survivors are often scared, confused, or even traumatized. Social workers act as a first line of support, helping people feel seen, heard, and safe. We start with rapid needs assessment by identifying the most vulnerable, like the infants, elderly, pregnant women, or persons with disabilities. But social work is more than just distributing food or clothes. It's also psychological first aid. Even a few words of reassurance like, safe ka, kasama mo kami, it can calm the people. It can calm a terrified mother holding their baby or a child hiding under debris. For example, um, during during Typhoon Odette in Surigao, if I'm not mistaken, and Cebu, many families arrived at evacuation centers with nothing but their clothes. Social workers immediately prioritize the most vulnerable, guided them to safe areas, and also coordinated relief distributions. Another example is the Marawi Siege, kung naaalala pa natin, where families fleeing their homes they were traumatized and disoriented. Social workers helped calm children, reunited families, and ensure that everyone's immediate physical needs were met. Okay. So, I think the role of a social worker at this stage is simple but powerful. That is to protect life, provide emotional support, and bring hope at a moment when people feel most helpless. Kasi in disasters, hope can just as important as food and water. Why? Because it gives people the courage to keep going. Number 2, as a social worker, deciding which approach to use during a disaster is about understanding the community's needs at every phase and responding accordingly. Each phase, immediate, recovery, and rehabilitation, requires a different strategy. In the immediate phase, the focus is survival. Social workers assess who is at greatest risk and provide physical and emotional support. For example, during the Abra earthquake, social workers helped families evacuate safely, gave first aid, and reassured terrified children. In the recovery phase, people start asking, what's next? The approach shifts to family tracing, organizing temporary shelter, and psychosocial support. After Typhoon Yolanda, for example, social workers helped reunite separated children with parents, provided group counseling, and coordinate relief for families in evacuation centers. At this stage, social workers help people process trauma while ensuring basic needs are met. And lastly, in the rehabilitation phase. Here, the approach is long-term. Social workers focus on community rebuilding, livelihood support, and participation in decision-making. In Bohol, for example, after the earthquake, social workers helped residents rebuild homes, restart businesses, and organize community meetings so that recovery was sustainable and inclusive. How do we decide? Of course, by observing the immediate needs of the people, physical man yan, emotional, and social. Available resources, volunteers, relief goods, and safe shelters. Another is safety of the environment, whether intervention is possible or risky. I think the inspiring part here is that as social workers, we adapt to reality, follow the heartbeat of the community, and guide them from fear to hope. Our goal is not just to provide aid, but to empower people to rise again with dignity and strength. So, in simple words, social workers decide which approach to use in disaster response by carefully observing the needs of the community, the resources available, and the safety of the environment. They adapt their actions based on what is most urgent and relevant to the moment, whether it's ensuring physical safety, providing emotional support, or helping communities rebuild and regain stability.